guys, welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to see the basics of Android Studio. So without any further delay, let's get into the video. So let me open Android Studio. So talking about the version of my Android Studio is 24.1.1, which is the very first window that opens while opening Android Studio is the project pane. So we can see our recent projects up here, and we can see the new project, and we can also open our projects using right from here. So for now I'm going to click in new project, and here we have a lot of different activities given by Android Studio itself. So I'm not going to use these activities. Instead I'm going to go with empty activity, empty views activity. After clicking it, click in next. So you have to give the name of your application, package name, and the location of your application, and then you should choose the language you are going to work in, and then the minimum SDK. Talking about the API, it will be better if you go to lower versions of API, because the more lower the API version is, the more number of devices can accommodate your application. But the problem with the lower API is you cannot use all the features of Android Studio, all the latest features of Android Studio. So I would recommend to go in between. If you go to higher levels of API, you will have an option of all the features available inside your app, but the app would not support for lower versions of Android mobiles. So I would recommend you to go in a mid-range segment. So let me show you. API 16 will support 100% of devices, and API 34 only supports 13% of devices. So I'm gonna go with API 24 Nugget Android 7.0. So it do support with 97.4, and it is not more lower version, so it is like in the mid-range. So I'm gonna go with 24, API 24. So once you are done with it, you can click hit on finish. So once the project is loaded, you'll have two different files. One is main.activity.java and the other one is activity.main.xml. Before talking about these both files, let me just show you a quick tour of Android Studio. So here we'll have our project pane, where you can have access to all the files inside our project. So here you will see a lot of different files, but we will not see about them right now. We will definitely discuss about them in the future. So let me just close all these files. And the file we are going to discuss about right now is only main activity, main.xml and main activity. So let me close other files, and except that we have our logcat and build right here, and on the top pane we can see our virtual devices that are available, and we can also pair our real-time device using Wi-Fi or USB. Here we have our run or debug, so we can also edit the configuration if you want it. And we can see the profile right here. The profile is something that shows out the profile of our application. We'll be discussing about the profile in the future. And here we'll see the device manager, which will have the number of virtual devices that we want. We can also add devices right here. And this is the running devices. So this will show the number of running devices, as because we didn't run any device right now. And the latest version of Android Studio have the Gemini support. So if you want, you can also use Gemini in Android Studio right now. So about our application right now. So these both are going to be a key frame of our application. So activity main.xml is going to be the front end, which is the UI, user interface of our application, and main activity.java, Java file is going to give life to our user interface. So let me just get into main activity. Here we have a text view basically. So let me just show you the views, number of views in XML file. So when you get into an XML file, you'll have three different views. One is design view, which we are right in here. We have an hybrid view, which is also called a shift view in Android Studio, which will have both the code as well as the design view. And you also have only code view. So for now, I'm going to stick on with it. We have some codes unrolled for parent layout, and this is the code for text view. Don't worry, we'll be talking about this in a minute. For now, let me remove the text view. So once I remove the text view, you can see that we have the parent. So talking about layout, we have a lot of different layouts. So we'll be talking about constraint layout, relative layout, and linear layout. And we'll be mostly using constraint layout, but right now I'm going to change constraint layout to relative layout. So after changing constraint layout to relative layout, I'm going to add a text view to our application, and layout height and width is going to be wrap content, and I'm going to say text hello world. So this is the text that we had before. So I'm gonna say just hello, and I'm going to give this an ID. The ID is basically the name that is given to the text, so that our backend Java file can connect with the component and can communicate with the component. So let me give ID for this element, and let me say hello text. And after this, I'm going to give it. So I wanted it in the center of my parent. So the parent is nothing but the user interface. So center in parent is true. So it will. So now you can see the text view is in the center. And so the next thing is button. So I'm going to add a button to my user interface. And also this is going to be wrap content, and I'm going to have a text of say hello, and I'm going to give this an ID again. So ID is going to be hello button, and after that, so we have to make this button functionable. So in order to make this button functionable, we have two different options, and we'll be discussing both the options right now. So for now, I'm going to discuss option number one. So I'm going to add on click here, and let me say hello. After this, I'm good to go. Let me close this and directly get into my Java file. Here, I'm going to create a method, and let me say that as public void say hello, and this method should have view in it. So let me just add that. So basically, all the objects, a button, a text view, everything in Android Studio are extended from view class. So we consider a button as a view. So let me show you about what I'm talking about. So first, on the click of the button, we have to change the text. So let me create a text view right here. Text view text is equals to text is equal to find view by ID. So this was the one I was talking about. So after writing the syntax of find view by ID, we have or.id, which is also a syntax. By the way, here or refers to the resources folder, and the ID refers to the ID within our main XML file. So r.id dot hello text, and on click of the button I do wanted the text view to be changed. So let me say txt.setText to be hello name. Once you change this, we are ready to run our application. So so here we have our application successfully running on our Pixel 3. So once I click here, say hello, it should say hello name, and that's perfectly working. So let me minimize this tab and get back to active-domain.xml and add some more features to this application. So I want this button under hello text. So I'm going to say below, so it's layout below. We are going to say by ID it's going to be below hello txt, and then we are also going to say it should be center in center. So I am going to say center horizontal to be true. So now it looks good, but still I want a small space in between the text view and the button. So let me add a margin top to be 30 dp, and this looks good right now. So now I wanted my edit text to be here so that I can give a name and the application will respond according to what I say. Before that, I'm going to change something here. I told you there are two options to set on-click listener. So this is the very first option, and you can see that while I write on-click, you have a strike on the top. The reason is that because this method is already deprecated, and you can yet use this method, but it is not advisable. So I'm going to show you the other method, how to set an on-click listener for the button. So now let me just remove this. So we have this text view inside this method. So if I create in any other method, I could not use this method in any other. I could not use this variable inside any other method. So I'm going to do alternative for this one. So I'm going to create private text view, which is going to be txt, and I'm also going to create another variable which is going to be private button. So once I do both, I'm good to go. Here I'm going to say btn.set on-click listener new view.onClick listener. So here view represents the view object, which is the button. So here if you click on the button, you can see it extends text view. So basically a button is a text view. It's an extended version of a text view. So if you click on text view, here you can see its text view extends view. So basically all the object inside a user interface are view extends view object. So you can use this set on click listener for any of the components. We're using this for button right now. So let me close these box. So here on click listener is set. So now let me say, so before doing these I should call my ID. So let me do that. Dot hello text, and btn is equal to find me by ID r.id hello btn. And once we are done, now we can say txt.setText to be hello, and we should have some more changes right in our activity so that we can do. So now I'm going to add an edit text. So edit text. So this is going to be wrap content. Instead of giving wrap content, let me say match parent, so that I can give you an idea about what match parent is. So match parent is nothing but it would match the total parent, so you can see that it is occupying the whole screen. So I do wanted a match parent width, but I don't wanted a match parent height, so let me say a wrap content for that. So now I'm going to give a hint for my edit text, and let me say that as name. And now I wanted a margin so that it will be looking good. Margin is equal to 20 dp. Yeah, this looks good. Or you can directly go to the top and say padding equals to 10 dp. This also would look good, but I'm going to go with this first option. So yeah, here 20 dp, and I'm going to say this as center in parent be true. So it's gonna be like flashing. So let me click in the text and say, instead of centering parent, let me say horizontal to center true, and it's gonna be below. I have to give an ID for this, so ID edit name. So here I'm going to give the ID edit name. So now you can see that we have a beautiful interface. So let me add a margin top, which is going to be 10 dp. Already it has. Still, let me give another 10 dp. So talking about text view, we can also change the text of a text view. For example, we can give style for our text view, bold and italic, and we can give color for our text view. So you can change the color for your text view right from here. So this looks good. And you can also change the color of your button. So it's gonna be background tint, and that should change your. So let me have the whole application UI in this color, and you can also have hint colors and everything. So for example, if you wanted, you can say style writing edit text. So you can have all of these options available in your text view. So once you are good to go, now let's get into the main activity. So I should also call my edit text right here. Text edit, and let me get here and say equals to find view.id edit name, and here within the on-click method. So don't worry about this, the problem will automatically be fixed in some time. So here within the on-click method, I'm going to say I just wanted the set text to be here with the name that we type in there. So edit dot get text. So get text will be in a form of numbers because this is an ID. So if we wanted to use that was entered inside the text edit text inside the Java file, we should convert it to a string. So let's add toString, and once you do that, you're good to go. So after this, you can just simply say, you can refresh your application. So after refreshing our application, this is our UI, new UI. So now let me just give it a name, example. So after this, let me click in the button, and that should be working. So yeah, so this is for this. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to see about how to create a toast message in Android Studio. So without any further delay, let's get into the video. So let me create a new project in Android Studio. So here I'm going to create a new project in Android Studio. If you don't know how to create a new project in Android Studio, please do check my previous video so that you can get an idea about how to create a new project in Android Studio. So for now, let me create a new project. Let me click in empty views activity, and here I'm going to give my application name as toast and snack, and I'm going to have my package as this, and it's going to be the location of my project, and this is going to be the language of my project, and everything is okay. And I'm going to change the default build configuration language to be Groovy DSL, and once I'm done with this, I can click and finish. So now we have our Java file and our XML file right here. So I'm going to get into my XML file, and I'm going to create a button right here. And so let me just change this layout to relative. So after changing my layout as relative layout, now I wanted to remove this text view, and let me give this a button here, and let me say this as wrap content and wrap content, and let me say this as text to be say hello, and here I'm going to give background tint to be black, and actually you can customize your color right here, and I'm going to give a semi reddish color, and here I'm going to center it in parent. So center in parent is equal to true. So once you do all these, I wanted to give an ID for my button, so let me give an ID, and let me give the ID to be btn. And once I give the ID to my button, I can get into my main activity.java. Inside here I have to call my button. So let me say as private button equals to btn, and btn equals to find view by id r.id dot btn. Here btn dot on click listener set on click listener new views dot on click listener. So now I'm going to create a toast message right here. So a toast message is nothing but a message which is helpful to communicate to the user. So if there is any problem in the application, or if there is any things that have to be conveyed to the user, the toast message is really helpful for the application developers to convey the message to the user. So right now I'm going to show you about how to create a toast message. So here I'm going to hit in toast dot make text, and inside here I have to pass in a context. So here the context is going to be the main activity, that is this activity. So this asks us of where the toast message should be appeared. So you'll be learning about why we are using this context in the future videos. For now we are going to pass in main activity dot this, and after that we are going to pass in the string that we have to show to the user. For now I'm going to say hello, and then I'm going to typecast the length of that is the duration that my toast message should be shown. So it depends upon your purpose. For now I'm going to give length.short, and once I do all these I have to say dot show. So this will show our toast message to the user. So now let me run the application and check if that works. So here our application is running now successfully. So now when I click this button I should see a toast message. So in order to make this application more realistic, let me get into my XML file and add an edit text right here. So let me add an edit text here, and let me say width to be match parent and height to be wrap content, and here I'm going to say hint is equal to name, and let me give a style to this text, bold and italic. Let me give color to the text, let it be the same color as of the button. So let me just change that to, so you can use this eyedropper tool to pick in any color you wanted, but it should be within Android Studio. You cannot get out of Android Studio with this picker, but right now it's a useful method because you can choose the color of your text. So this would not show this would not change the color of our hint. So if you want to change the color of our hint, you have to say text color hint. Here this should actually change our hint's color. So let me just do the same here now. So once we do that, we have to give we have to center it. So let me say center in parent, and let me give it true. And here I'm going to also give an ID for this edit text. Let it be EDT. And once I do this, so I'm going to close the tag, and here I'm going to add in padding. So padding of 20 dp. So once I do here, I'm going to remove this center in parent, and instead I'm going to say horizontal, and centering in horizontal to be true. After that it's going to be below the edit text. So let me give ID to be EDT, and I have to have an margin top of 10 dp. This looks good. So now I'm going to get into my main activity.java file. Here I'm going to declare my edit text variable. So I wanted to find my edit text variable by ID here. So once I find my edit text variable by ID, here I'm going to use that inside my toast message. So I'm going to say hello plus, which the plus sign is used to concatenate our string. You should actually know about this if you know about Java, but if you don't know, please do check out my previous videos about how to code in Java. So for now I'm going to say edt.getText.toString. So once you do this, you're good to go. Let me refresh my application and check if this works properly. So now we have our application running successfully here. So let me give it a name. So let me give it as example. And now when I click the button, I should see a toast message coming up here. So once I click in here, it says hello example. So our application is working successfully. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this Android Studio series, we are going to talk about material design. Material design is a system built and supported by Google designers and developers for Android Studio, Flutter, and websites. So in this video, we are going to talk about it in detail. So material design is free right now for everyone. So you can get into your desired browser and you can type in material.io. Here this is going to be the material design material 3's website. So if you wanted 2 or 1, you can simply hit in here, which will redirect you to material design 1 and 2. Some people would use material design 2, but I would be showing you what is the differences between using material design 2 and 3. So basically this is going to be our first website. So here you can hit and get started and you can get to know about what material design is and using material design, and you can also see about what else you can do with material designs. So for now, let me create a project and show you how to implement a material design into our project. Now we had created a project named material design. If you don't know how to create a project in Android Studio, please do check out my first video of Android Studio Basics playlist so that you can get to know about how to create your first project on Android Studio. So for now, let me get back to the website and material design. Here you can see a tab named components. When you click on it, you can see that you'll have a lot of different components, and we are not going to talk about all of these components. We'll be talking about cards, buttons, and here we'll be talking about all the buttons, and we'll be talking about this particular button, which is floating action button. So you can see this button. So right now we are going to talk about floating action button, and we'll also be seeing about card view and snack bar in the coming up sessions. So without any further delay, let me get into Android Studio, and here basically it's material design 3. So let me also show you about how to implement material design 2. So talking about material design 2, you have to get into develop, and here you have to get into Android, and here you will have an option called documentation. Within this you have to click in getting started. Here you will have this set of code which you have to get into your project and click in build Gradle and build Gradle. Here you have to paste this line of code, and you have to paste this implementation code right in here. But talking about our latest version of Android Studio and material design, we don't have to implement our material design package right here. You can see the material design package already being implemented. So when you create a project in Android Studio, in the latest version of Android Studio, you don't have to implement your material design into your Gradle build. It will be implemented by default. So right now I'm going to create a floating action button right within our UI. So here I'm going to first say hello world. Let it be there. So basically I'm going to create a floating action button, but before that I will show you about what else we have. So let me see a component overview. So this is going to be our button. So this was the so you can see that we have extended fab, which is floating action button, and we have action button itself. We have lots of different UI elements right within our material design website, so you can use all of these UI elements for free. So for now I'm not going to talk about all these, so let me just talk about a button and a floating action button. So let me get back into our code environment, and here I'm going to create a button basically. So I'm going to say, and let me say a wrap content and wrap content, and let me give a text, and the text is going to be make payment. So once I am done with this, I'm going to constrain it to the bottom of my text view here. And once I do this, I will have to add a margin top, and let me add 32 for this. And on click of this button, I should say payment successful. So let me add an ID of payment, and once I add the ID, I'm ready to work with my Java file. Here I'm going to say private button, so private button. So now you can understand that this is already implemented. So this button is already from material design, so it's material designs UI on default. Let me just get into code view, say color, background tint to be black, and I'm going to change that to have a custom color, and I'm going to have the same color to the text of this text view. So I'm saying black for now, and I'll have this option coming up right here. So once I click now here and I'll see custom, I'm going to use this eyedropper tool. I'm going to pick this color. So now I have my text view and everything is done. So here I'm going to change this text view from pay available to please pay your amount. So once you do this, you are good to go. So now let me get back to here, and here I'm going to say private button payment, and once I say payment, here I'm going to say payment is equal to find view by ID resources.id payment resources.id payment. And once I get that, I'm good to go with payment dot set on click listener new on click listener. So let me check if the ID is perfectly matching. I'm going to show a toast message saying that your payment was successful. Payment was successful. So once I hit in that, so let me run my application. So now we have our application running successfully. So here you can see our button and our text view perfectly placed. So when I click in make payment, it says your payment was successful. So without stopping here, I'm going to also say on click of that button, I should have this text view to be changing from please pay your amount to done. So let me just get back to main activity and say private text view to be text view, and here I'm going to say text view equals to find view by ID r.id dot text view, and here on click of the button the text view should change to dot set text payment done. So on the click of the button, this text view will be changing from please pay your amount to payment done. So before testing this, I'm also going to add an floating action button to our UI, and I'm going to, for adding a floating action button, I should have an icon. So now I'm going to add an plus icon right here. So to add a plus icon right here, I wanted to have that icon in my resources folder. So I should add the icon right in the drawable folder. So I'm going to right click in the drawable folder, and here within new I'm going to click in image asset, and here I'm going to hit in action bar and tab icons, and here I'm going to click in this clip art. I'm going to search for add. So here I have my add icon, and I'm going to hit in OK by choosing the icon. So here I'm going to change this to IC_add, and I'm going to change this color to be a custom black color, and I'm going to finish. So once I add this item here, I have this IC_add right here. So now I'm going to add a floating action button right within to my UI, and this is going to be the floating action buttons UI, and I'm going to constrain it to the bottom. So basically before doing that, I'm going to say src, and I'm going to have add button right here. And now let me customize this button right now. So now on click of this button, I'm going to set some work. So I'm going to say this as float button, and once I do this, I'm going to get into my main activity, and here I'm going to say private floating action button to be btn. And here, when I click in this floating action buttons documentation, it extends visibility aware image button, and when I click in this visibility aware image button, this extends image button, and when I click in this image button, it extends image view, and when I click in this image view, it extends view class. So basically this floating action button is also a view class, so we can set an on-click listener for this floating action button. So except this file, I'm going to close other files, and right now here I'm going to say btn equals to find view by id r.id dot float button, and I'm going to say btn dot set on click listener new view on click listener, and I'm going to say have a toast message dot toast to be floating action button clicked. So now let's test our application. So let me refresh my application. So now we have our application running successfully. So here I am going to hit and make payment and test this button first. So once I hit and make payment, it says your payment was successful, and it says payment done. And now when I click in this floating action button, it's working properly. So that's it for this video. Have a nice day. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video of Android Studio series, we are going to see material design, the continuation, and what else we can do to this UI. So without any further delay, let me get into the video. But before that, if you didn't watch my previous video, just to check out the previous video before watching this video. So let's get into this video. Here you can see that we have our make payment application. So let me just have a quick recap. So when I hit in this make payment button, it would say payment done, and here you can see payment was successful. So here when I hit in the floating action button, you can see a toast message coming up. Floating action button was clicked. So I'm going to have a text view here which would be having the number 0, and whenever I click in the toast message, the floating button, the number would be incrementing by 1. So to do that, I'm going to get up here and add a text view, and I'm going to say this as wrap content and wrap content. After that, here I'm going to add the text, which is going to be 0, and I'm going to say size of the text to be 50 dp and color to be black for now, and I'll be customizing the color by clicking here, getting into custom. I'm gonna pick the color using the color picker, and once I pick that, now I'm going to give style for my text view and bold and italic. So now I'm going to constrain my text view. So after constraining my text view, I'm going to get into a design view, and here you will have to give a margin top of 150 dp, and this looks good. So once after adding this text view, I'm going to give an ID to this text view. So let me give an ID counter. So it's gonna count the number of times I click the floating action button. So now let me get into main activity.java file. Here I'm going to create another text view named counter, and here counter equals to find view by ID counter. Once after doing this, you should get into the btn, because on click of this button I'm going to have the count incremented. So I'm going to say private int I here equals to 0. So in here inside the button, I'm going to say on click of the button, counter.setText string value. So you should say string dot value of increments I. So on the click of this floating action button, I should see the value of the text view incrementing. So now we have our application running successfully. Now on the click of my make payment button, I should see the text view here changing, and I should see a toast message, and that's working perfectly. And here on the click of this floating action button, I should see a toast message, and I should also see this text view count incrementing. So on click of this button, I see the toast message and the text view's number incremented. So now whenever I click, the text view's number would be incrementing. Now we are also going to add some additional features, and we are going to use one of the material designs UI. So instead of this toast message, I'm going to have a snack bar. So basically this is the snack bar. So we will have our request here, and on click of this action, the snack bar will disappear. So to do this, let me get back to my code, and here I'm going to say snack bar dot make here, before starting with this, I should see where snack bar have to appear. So I want my snack bar to appear in this layout, so I should give an ID to this layout, and I have an ID here which is main. So here I'm going to say private constraint layout parent, and here I'm going to say parent equals to find me by ID r.id.main. So once I add this here within snackbar.make, I'm going to set the parent. So this will help the snack bar to know where it have to appear. So after this, I should send some text inside. So let me say, do you want the number to be incremented? So on the click of this button, I will have to request the user if I want to increment the number, and on this action I should also say the length of the snack bar to appear. So we have different kind of time length. So we have animation mode fade, and animation slide, and animation stop. So short means the time span, for example, it will automatically disappear. Length indefinite means the snack bar will only disappear when the button is clicked. So I'm going to give length indefinite dot set action, and I'm going to say yes. So if it is yes, I should say new on click listener, and within here I'm going to pass this statement and dot show. So now let's test our application. So now our application is running successfully. So now when I hit and make payment, it says payment done and your payment was successful. Here I have the floating action button. So now on click of this button, I should see a snack bar appearing. So when I click in this button, it says, do you want the number to be incremented? So if I hit an yes, it should increment the number, means the value of the text view. So when I hit in yes, it increments the number. Number of times I click the floating action button, the number of times I see the snack bar, and the number of times I click in yes, I would see the increment of my text view. So now we are going to see some customization of our snack bar. So let's do that quickly. So here on set action, after set action, I'm going to say dot set text color. So within text color, I'm going to give color dot red, and so this is going to be the let me give yellow, and here after that I'm going to say set action text color to be color dot red. So now when I refresh my application, I should see this customized text color and action text color. So now when I hit in the floating action button, I see a yellow color text color and action text color in red. So now when I hit in yes, it's working properly. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this Android Studio series, we are going to see about card views. Card view is basically a UI element provided by Material Design. So let me get into Material Design website and check about card views. So it's basically a UI element which is actually a container of all the other UI elements. For example, the image view, the text view, and the button. So it is actually a container so basically you have different types of card views: elevated cards, filled cards, and outline cards. So this is elevated cards, so you can see the shadow behind, which is used in most of the applications right now. And you also have filled cards, which is like you would have a different color texture inside and you'll have another color in the background. So this is a filled card. And when you see outlined card, so you'll have the same colors of the background, but you'll have an outline for this card view. So let me get into the code and show you about how to implement a card view. So here I have created a project named card view. So here I'm going to implement it. So to use a card view from Material Design, so let me search or let me type for it. So you can see that this is a Android x.cardview.widget.cardview, which is actually a default card view. So if you are wondering about what is a default card view and what is a Material Design card view is, let me explain. So here, Material Design is one of the Google's product. It is built by users and developers by themselves, and it is free for the developers and designers. I've explained about this in the previous video. If you wanted to know about it in detail, just watch the first part of Material Design. So right now, this is a default card view. So basically, when you get into Gradle script inside build Gradle module app, here you can see that you have implementation of material right inside this. So this is actually nothing but it is implementing the Material Design's UI into our application. So basically, if you are running older versions of Android Studio, you should manually download these dependencies by getting into the website, and you'll have some code. You have to paste them here. But in the updated version of Android Studio, you don't have to do that. It will do the work automatically for you. So within here, you will have both the default inbuilt card view, inbuilt button and everything, but you can also use the Material Design's card view. So now let me type in card view again. So here you can see material card view, which is actually from the Material Design. So here when I hit in it, it is asking me about the width and the height. So let me say match parent and the height to be 100 dp or 200 dp instead. Yeah, this looks good. So once I do this, I am good to go with the next thing. So I wanted a margin so that we can have a good looking card view. So I'm going to add a margin of 20 dp. This looks good, but I have to have a margin top. So for doing so, I should constrain it to the parent layout. And once I constrain it, I can see that I have this issue being fixed. So with inside, I'm going to change this into a open and closing tag, and with inside here, so this is basically a kind of layout. So it's going to contain all the text views and image views that you're going to work in. So you can also have this as a constrained layout, but I'm going to work with this as a relative layout. So let me create a relative layout, and let me say match parent and match parent, and let me close this tag. So within this tag, I'm going to say I'm going to have an image view right inside this. So I'm going to say 250 dp. I'm going to just check about how much dp is going to work for me. Sorry. 250 dp, 250 dp, and another 250 dp right here. So this is actually, you can see the blueprint right here. So it's actually taking half of the card view. So I'm going to have a 150 dp and a 150 dp right here. Yeah, this looks better. So now I'm going to have this in the center. So I'm going to have a margin top. So let me add a margin top. So margin top to be 20 dp and margin left to be 20 dp. So now that I have the image view set right here, so once I have it, I have to have an ID, because with inside the relative layout, if you wanted to work, you should have an ID for each and every element. So let me create an ID for this element. So basically, in whatever layout you're working, you should have an ID, but I didn't have any ID right here. So if you are in need of an ID, you should definitely create an ID. So let me say image for this ID, and once I put that, let me close this image view. And I should say I should have an src for this, because I cannot have this kind of image, right? So I'm going to have an image. So in order to use your own image within inside of the application, you have some set of rules to follow. So basically, you should have your image to be PNG or JPEG or any file format of an image, and it should only contain small letters. It should not have any capital letters, so that the app would not be able to find the source. So if you wanted to use your own image within inside of the application, you should paste the image within inside of the map folder, which is inside of resources folder. So here I'm pasting my image, which is having a name of img.jpg, and right here I'm going to say img, which is all small, so img, which is inside the map folder. So basically this is going to be a sample image, so I'm not going to worry about how this image actually looks like. So now I'm going to also add some text view inside. So let me say text view to be wrap content and wrap content, and let me add a text to this, which is going to be name example, and I am sure that this name should come up to here. So let me add an ID for this name. So let's say name, add size for this text, so let it be 15 dp, and I wanted this text to come up here, so I'm gonna give to right off image, which is the ID of this image view, and I'm going to add a margin of 20 dp. But this would have an issue, because if I add another text view underneath, it would add a 20 dp, so I should not have that. So let me just say margin top to be 20 dp and left margin to be 20 dp. So once I do this, let me copy this text view and paste it once again, and here I'm going to have this name to be father name, and after changing this, I wanted to change this ID to be font name, and after changing this, I should say below of name. So yeah, sorry. So once I do this, I can see that I have a margin top of 20 dB, but I don't want 20 dB to be the margin top, so let me change it to 10. So this looks good. So let me change this father to father name, and I should also add mother name. So let me copy this text view and let me change this ID to be mother name and the text to be mother name, and it should be below father name. So after adding this, I'm going to add a button. So let me add some margin top here so that I can add a button or something right here. So let me add a margin top of 50 dB or 40. Yeah, this looks good. So here I'm going to add a button. So let me add a button right here. So button wrap content, and let me add text to be click here. Once I had this text, I can change the background color. So let me add a different color, a custom color from here. So I wanted this button to be in the end of this card view, so let me add end of parent to be true and parent bottom to be true. So I wanted some margin here, so I'm going to say margin right to be 20 dB, and I'm going to add margin bottom to be 20 dB. It would be better if I add 30 dB for this. Yeah. So once I add all these, or I can have this next to the image view so that it would look better. So let me change this margin right, and let me also take this align parent, and here I'm going to say to right off image, and let me add a left margin to be 20 dB. Yeah, this looks good. So after doing all these codes, right now we have to work in our Java file. So let me open main activity. So I've added an ID to this button. So on this click of the button, we are going to show a toast message to the user, and we are also going to add another on click listener, which is for this card view. On the click of this card view, we are going to get the user into another activity. So let me get into the Java file, and here I wanted the ID for this card view, so let me also set an ID for this card view. So ID card view. So once I add an ID for this card view, let me get into the Java file and let me say private card view and private button btn. So once I add both of these, I'm going to find them by their ID. So let me say card view is equal to find view by ID and card view, and btn is equal to find view by ID btn. So after assigning the values, now I'm going to set an on click listener for this button. So in our previous video, we would have seen about new onClick listener, view.onClick listener. This is also one method, but you can also use another method called view directly, and here within the braces you can start coding, which is also a kind of code, so you can use both of them. So I'm going to go with this for now. So I'm going to simply show a toast message to the user, which is going to say you have clicked the button. So on click of the button, it should show a toast message, and on click of the card view, so basically a card view is also extending a view class, so if you want to, you can check the documentation. So you can see that we have this view class right here. So it is actually extending the view class. So you can also use onClick listener for this card view. So let me get back to main activity, and here I'm going to say card view dot set onClick listener new view dot onClick listener. Here I'm going to get the user into another activity on click of this card view. Basically we see this in a lot of applications. If you're not sure about what I'm talking about, you can see that we have this example right here. So here we have a lot of different card views available. Don't worry, we'll be also seeing things like this in our future videos, but for now we are just creating one single card view. So on the click of this card view, it should show us some additional information to the user. So we cannot show all the information in this card view itself. So we would send the user to another activity which will have all the information about the card view in detail. So here in the package, I'm going to right click. I'm going to say new. Here I'm going to click in activity. Right here I'm going to create a new empty views activity, and I'm going to say this is second activity, and let me hit on finish. So we'll be talking about how to create an activity in the future videos, so you don't have to worry about it right now. So after creating the second activity, I should redirect the user to that activity. So here, in order to redirect the user to the second activity, I'm going to write some code here, which also I will be explaining in the future videos. So for now, let me say intent equal to new intent main activity dot this, which is the context of this class, and here I'm going to say the class that I'm going to write the user to. So I'm going to say second activity dot class. So once I do this, I have to start the activity. So start activity intent. So on the click of the card view, the user would be redirected to the other page. So in that page, I'm going to add some simple UI elements so that you can identify that this is going to be changed. So let me just do that quickly here. So once after doing all these, I am good to go. So here, after this, I'm going to get into the second activity. Here I'm going to say button equals to find view by ID r.id.button, which is going to be, I'm going to set an onClick listener, and here within here I'm going to add a toast message, which is going to be saying that clicked So yeah, so we had successfully created a card view, and after creating the card view, we are connecting the card view. On the click of the card view, we should redirect the user to another activity. So let's test our application. So here we have our application running. So you can see our card view right here, which is a outlined card view. So for now, when I hit in this button, it says you have clicked the button, and when I hit in this card view, it actually opens me the second activity, which is also working fine. So here I can see the button being clicked. So when I go back, my home application is showing. So we have our application working successfully. So that's it for this video. Thank you. Have a nice day. Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Android Studio series. In this video, we are going to see about how to create an activity on our own. So basically, we was working in activities before, but we worked in the activity like we'll get into a new project, and here we'll hit in empty views activity. So except this no activity, all these other activities are actually presets of Android Studio. So I'm not going to use the preset of Android Studio right now, so I'm going to create the activity on my own. So let me hit in no activity for now and hit in next. Here we have everything as of like before. So here I wanted to give the build configuration language to be Groovy DSL, and I have to set an application name. So let me say this as activity basic, and let me hit and finish. So now we have our project successfully created. So here within our project pane, let me expand all. Here you cannot find any main activity.java file or your layout file. So we have to create all of them manually right now. So here, in order to create a layout file, I have to create a directory for it first. So let me right click in resources file folder, and here I'm going to create a directory. You can also say Android resource directory. Let me go directly to directory, and I'm going to save this as layout. And within this directory, I'm going to create a layout resource file, which is going to be activity_main, which is going to be the very first launcher activity. For this, I have to have a Java file. So let me create a Java class, which is going to be main activity. So as we saw while creating our project, we saw that we had no activity, and in the same way, when we right click in the Java folder, you can see that you also have an option to create an activity. You can also use this if you even choose no activity right there, but I'm not going to choose this method from scratch and how to connect them all easily. So here I'm going to, after creating this class, in order to work with this file in Android Studio, we should connect this to the Android application. So we have to extend the class app_compact_activity. So basically you also can choose activity here, which is also okay, but here this won't have backward compatibility, which means it won't work with older levels of API, and there'll be a lot of issues coming up. So instead, if you use app_compact_activity, it will deal those kind of issues for you. So you can choose app_compact_activity. If you want, you can also choose activity if you want. So let me just hit in app_compact_activity. Immediately after extending this app_compact_activity, you can see that we have import androidx.app_compact.app.appcompactActivity. We'll also be talking about all these imports in the future video, but for now I'm not going to talk about it. And also we have lots of different overriding methods. For example, onCreate method. Except of that, we have a lot of different overriding methods. In order to see them, you can just simply hit in Ctrl+O, and after hitting Ctrl+O, you will have a lot of different overriding methods. But right now I'm going to go with onCreate method. So let me say onCreate method. So you have two different options available here, which is public void onCreate method, which will have bundle and a persistable bundle. But we wanted the protected void onCreate method, which is actually only having the saved instance state. So we'll also be seeing about what saved instance state is in the future video, but for now let me say onCreated bundle. So here, once after doing this, we have to connect the XML file to our Java file. So in order to do that, I have to say set content view, and here I should say r.layout dot the name of the XML file. In this case, it's going to be activity_main. So once I have this, I will be connecting our XML file to this Java file. So once after doing this, this is not the end of the part. So now when I hit and play for the application, let's see what's happening here. So here I can see that there is an error. So my app is crashing actually. So the reason behind that is I should say that we have our manifest file empty. So basically we have some code here, but we should say what activity is actually the launcher activity. We didn't define anything. Actually, we didn't even define that we have an activity within our application. So that was the issue, and that was the reason for our application to be crashed. So here, in order to fix that, I'm going to change this application tag to opening and closing tag, and within here I'm going to say activity, and I'm going to give this activity name is equal to .main activity. And I also wanted to say that exported to be true. I should also write some more code inside here. So inside this activity, I should create another tag named intent filter. And here within our intent filter, I'm going to give action to be Android name, and this is going to be the main activity. And let me close this tag and create category. And I wanted to say which activity is going to be my launcher activity. And I'm sure this is going to be the launcher activity because this is going to be the one day activity that I'm going to use for now. So let me say this is the launcher activity. And the reason I'm using these both is because I want to, if I'm having a lot of different activities, I have to tell the app which activity is actually the launcher activity, which is the home activity. So in order to do that, I should use these both code. And here, the reason I'm giving exported is equal to true is because when I export the application, I should have this activity exported too. So this will actually be done by Android Studio. We are doing it from scratch right now. But basically, when you right click and hit in new, and within here when you hit in activities, empty views activity, here you can say whatever things that you wanted. That is, you can say main activity.to, and this is going to be the name of our activity, which is the layout name. And here you can also say that if your activity wanted to be a launcher activity. But in this case, I've already chosen the launcher activity, so I don't want to give that. And I have to choose the package name in which the activity wanted to be, and also the source language. Once after choosing all these, when I hit and finish, you can see that I have created another activity. And when you get into Android manifest file, you can see that my activity is automatically uploaded here, and you can see that the Gradle project sync. So basically it will do all the stuff that you wanted to do for you, and it will make you hassle. So now let's test our application once, and if it's working without any crashes. So in order to check whether if everything is working fine, here I had set it on a button right in the activity main.xml file. So let's run and test our application. So here you can see our application is running successful. So yeah, that's it for this video. Have a nice day. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video of Android Studio series, we are going to say about list views and spinner. Basically, they are UI elements which will be helpful to show a bunch or an array of items to the user. So let's see about how to create them. So now I have created a project named list view and spinner. And right here, if you don't know about how to create a project, please do check out my first video. And now let me get into main activity.xml file and let me switch to design view. Right here, I'm going to search for list view. And I have the component right here. I can drag and drop it here. And you can see that we have a layout width and height. I'm going to say this as match parent and match parent. After doing this, I'm going to constrain this to the parent layout. And once after constraining this, I should give an ID for this list view. And let me say this as country. And once after giving this, let me get into main activity.java file. Right here, I'm going to say private list view. Here, I'm going to say set variable. And I'm going to create the method. And after creating the method, right here, I'm going to say list view is equal to find view by id or .id .country. So once after setting the variable, now I'm going to create another method which is going to be set array list. So basically, then I have to show a list of items to the user. So in order to have it as a set, we can directly import it from any external things, for example like any databases like Firebase or Room or SQLite, but we don't have any ideas about how databases work. We'll also be covering about databases in our future video, but right now I'm going to use array list for now. So let me create this set array list method. Right here, I'm going to create an array list. So let's say array list, and its data type is going to be string, and I'm going to give this name as country. It's equal to new array list, and I'm going to say country dot add. So now that I have added a bunch of country names right here, so I'm going to set this country name to these country names to our list. So in order to do that, I should add an adapter. Basically, we have created an array list which has a bunch of arrays available in it. And in order to show them in the UI, we have to set an adapter. And when we are working with these kinds of list view and spinner view, so spinners, we will be using default adapters but still you can create your own adapter. And right now I'm not going to do that. I would be showing you about how to create an adapter on yourself in the future video while working with recycler view. Right now, let me say array adapter, and within inside I'm going to give string. In here I'm going to say this is country adapter. Within this I'm going to pass three variables. Number one is going to be the context, so you can see that we have context here, and we have to provide the layout resource, and we should also provide the array list that we are going to use. So that is the object. So let me pass the context as this. So here I'm going to use r.layout dot list item, but here one issue is that we are using a layout from Android package. So in order to use that, you should say Android dot r dot layout dot list simple list item underscore 1. I'm going to use this. So in order to use this simple list item 1 layout, you should go with Android package. So only then you can use this, because it's inside this package. So for now, let me say this adapter to be country, and once after setting all of these, I should say list view dot set adapter to be country adapter. So once after setting this, let me run and test my application. So now we have our lists available right here, but on click of this list we don't see anything happening here. So let's make this list view functionable. So in order to do that, I'm going to say here set on click, and I'm going to create this method. And once after creating this method, I'm going to say list view dot set on item click listener new adapter dot on item click listener. So here you can see that we have our adapter, and we have our view, and our int I and long L. I'll be explaining about what these are right now. So here I'm going to simply create a toast message which would be saying that clicked. Here I should say country dot get, and we have to pass in our position. But before that, if you notice one thing, that we are getting an error with our country, that is our application, our ID is actually not recognizing country. The reason is because I have created the variable array list, which is a string variable named country. This variable is inside set array list, and that is the reason that our set on click is not recognizing the country. So in order to make this recognizable, I should first say, so you can see that we are calling our set on click after set array list. So you can say country.add right here, we can set the adapter right here, we can also set the list view adapter right here, but the declaration statement should be as instance, so that we can say, and I'm going to say this as private. And once after saying this as private, right here I'm going to say get position. So the position is I. So when we click on the item, the item's position will be returned here. So in order to get the position, I'm going to say I and plus click. So let me refresh the application and check if that's working properly. So now that we have our application running successfully, so here I'm going to click in India, and it says India clicked. I hope I've given a small letter for this. So now when I hit in India, it says India clicked, and when I hit in Japan, it says Japan clicked. So now our list view is working fine. Now I'm going to create a spinner with this. So in order to create a spinner, I'm going to get into design view and search for spinner, and you can see that we have a spinner right here. So I'm gonna put this up in here. So once after putting this up here, it's going to be in the top, actually, not inside this list view, in the top. This is the issue with the design view, it's not actually for what you wanted there. So I'm going to say, I'm going to give this an ID and let it be spinner. And so now that I have created my spinner, and once after setting the variable here, I'm going to create a bunch of array lists. In order to do that, I should say so. Now I have added some 4 names to this array list, and I'm going to set an adapter. So here I'm going to say array adapter string dot name adapter equal to new array adapter, and within here I'm going to pass the context as this, and android dot r dot layout dot spinner. So you can see that we have simple spinner drop down item. So once you do this, you can set this spinner dot set adapter, and this is going to be name adapter. Once after setting the array list and setting the adapter, now we have to also set an on click listener. So spinner dot set on item clicked listener new adapter dot on item clicked listener. So I'm gonna simply copy this code and paste it right here. So here I'm gonna change this to be names.get, and here I'm gonna create another toast message which is going to say toast main activity. This here I'm gonna say no item is selected in this bin. So after this, I'm gonna refresh the application and check if everything works fine. So actually we cannot see anything here, and the reason is because we forgot to add something here. So we should also say the array list that we're going to insert in. So let's say this to be names, and now let me refresh the application and check if it's working. So here you can see that we have the spinner working successfully. So here you can see our spinner's name, so you can see it on clicked, and hidden may clicked. So our spinner view is working successfully. So that's it for this video. Have a nice day. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video we are going to see a quick recap of all my previous video in Android Studio series. So if you have no idea about what I'm talking about, you can check out the playlist of Android Studio, and right now it's going to be a full stretch of whatever we have covered in the previous videos. So now I'm going to create a basic application which is going to be converting the kgs into pounds, basically a unit converter. It's not a complex application, it's a basic application. So in order to do that, I have created a project named unit converter, and right here I'm going to get into Java file, and I have my main activity.java and my main activity XML file. So here I'm going to delete the text view. I'm going to add an edit text button right here. So you can choose the type of text you're going to enter in. So I'm going to enter a number. So now after adding the edit text, right now let me get into design view, and here I'm going to set a background for this application. So let me say this as src or background to a image. Once after setting this image, I'm going to, and here I have to say another thing, that whatever resources file that you use in Android Studio, you should be in small letter to while importing it. So here I'm gonna give this as my background image. I'm gonna create an image view which is going to be having match parent and match parent. If you want, you can also restrain it, but it's not needed right now. So after this, I'm going to say src to be a color, and once after giving that, I'm going to close this tag, and once after closing, I'm going to change this color to a dull gray. Okay, this looks good. The reason that is because of we have to have the text in front of the image to be shown clearly, and if you are working in UI in any other applications, you will definitely know about this thing, but it's not the proper method of doing. We can use some other methods too, but this is very basic method of what we can use this with the knowledge that we have learned till today. So right now I'm going to right now I'm going to quickly create this UI. So here we have created a simple UI of whatever we wanted. So here I'm going to get the input from the user, and on the click of this convert button, I should convert the weight from kgs to pounds, and the output would be shown right here. So in order to connect all these things, I should get into my Java file and start doing that. So I need two things, by the way, while starting this. Number one is edit text, which is going to get the value from the user, and then number two is this button, which will convert the weight to pounds on the click of this button, and then third one is my text view. So here I'm going to say, so I should first add an ID for all these, and I have it. So here we have our edit text num2. So this is the ID of this edit text, and the button's ID is button, and this text view's ID is num. So let me get back here and say edit text, and private button, and private text view to be pound. So once after doing all these, I'm going to say set variable. So I'm creating a method, and here I'm going to So once after setting our variable, now we have to set an on-click listener for our button. So let me say set on click. So once after doing that, I'm gonna create this method. So right in here, I'm gonna say button dot set on click listener view open inside the braces. I'm gonna say I'm gonna convert the value. So in order to do, we have to know about the conversion of kg to pounds. So let me get into the internet, and right here you can see that we have 1 kilogram is equal to 2.20, and it goes on. So let me simply copy this number, this value, and right now let me get back to Android Studio. So now I'm going to get the value from the user. So in order to do that, I'm going to simply say int pound. So let me say this is a number, so int number is equal to, and when you talk about this, it's going to be a double value because double or float value because we have decimal here. So when you convert it to a integer value, it will give an error if it has decimal, if it have decimal with it. So it's better to have double as the variable. So now let me say this is double dot parse double. Within here, I'm going to say edit text dot get text dot to string. So once after getting this, I should have the calculation done. So in order to do that, I'm going to create another new variable, which is going to be pound equals to the number into the value of pound. So basically here you have 1 kg is equal to this much. So it's going to be 2 kg, it's going to be the multiple of 2 into this value. So then we'll get the pound for our kgs. So let me just, after converting this, I should show the pound value to the user. So in order to do that, I'm going to say, if it is pound and pound, it would be a problem. So I'll say int double p, and here I'm going to say pound dot set text to be p. So there you'll have another issue because we are actually, it's a string variable, it asks for a string variable, but you are sending a double variable. Because you have two options. One is to pass in a string so that it would be converted. It would automatically, Java would automatically typecast the double variable to a string, or you can yourself do that by saying string dot value of double p. And once after doing this, you're good to go. So now let's test our application. So now we have our application running successfully. So here I can enter the value that I wanted. For example, let me say this is 23, and when I hit in convert, it should convert the value. And in order to check if my application is working properly, let me get into the internet and say 23, and you can see that we have the value perfectly matching. So that's it for this video. Have a nice day. Thank you.